Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Solo Factory. At the end of last episode, I mentioned that I had a plan of building a factory as a city, having production towers, making particular items, and building out the factory as a big city with, blocks, tower blocks, etc. And that's what this video is going to be primarily about. So you can see what I'm doing here is I'm building out the city grid with 6x6 blocks surrounded by a couple of foundation around each one that is going to be turned into essentially roads. So what I'm doing here is I'm just laying down a whole bunch of foundations, and then on each corner of the 6x6 grid that'll turn into the building blocks, the production towers, I'm just putting two concrete walls in the corner. Not too sure how I was able to build a pipe without a pump without a pipe there, but there you go. The access for you, I guess. And then ultimately what that'll mean is that by the end of this video I'll show you what the whole entire factory floor looks like, with dozens of these 6x6 grids, foundations built with the walls and the two lanes of foundations around them. Just want to pause here for a bit and just show you the kind of the overall plan of what I've got for this sort of city factory. You can see the background near that sort of rock arch-shaped rock formation. Just to the right of that are two sets of storage locations. They're both going to be replaced by two production towers. One on the left will be for copper sheets. The one on the right will be for wire. To the right of that you can see another set of containers. They are currently storing cable. Again, we're replaced by another production tower making just cable. That construction to the right of it, that's going to go, because to the right of that in the corner will be a production tower for quick wire, and a few other minor production lines, high-speed connectors, AL limiters, that sort of thing. They're quite small in their terms of their production towers. The cable one will probably be quite tall because of how much I need in terms of constructors, smelters, etc. to actually make cable. So it'll probably be 5 or 6 stories floor high. Later in the video you'll actually see what that actually does look like. And that's basically the goal, is to have dedicated construction towers, production towers making a specific thing. And if they need materials from another factory, another tower, then we'll use logistics floor underneath this factory, under this floor we're looking at, this ground we're looking at, to shift those items through a conveyor bus to that production tower. Unless I can actually use local resource nodes to build or make that base material. So, for example, if I'm building something like, say, reinforced plates, which is one of the towers already built, that requires just needs iron ore, because it needs to make screws and iron plates. You can make them all from the one thing, one ultimate source starting resource node. But if I need something like copper sheets, if I've got a copper, if I need copper for something, for a particular bit of component to make something, I'll either have to bring that in from another location, or if it's close by, I'll bring that in from that location and use that source of ore and build the copper sheets or the copper ingots I need to build whatever else I need to combine with something else to make circuit boards, for example, is another little tower that'll be built near this area towards the end of this video. So yeah, the idea is to build self-contained, as much as I can, self-contained production towers, and if need be, that stuff can then be bussed around underneath the city floor here to other towers as required. From this view, you can see actually 5 production towers. The left-hand one is making iron rods. You can see that below the foundation is actually one level of, looking at this, look like it might be smelters, and a couple of layers, a couple of floors of constructors making the actual rods. I've actually changed my design a bit again, that I don't want anything below, any construction at all below ground level. So ultimately in the future, maybe about rebuilding that floor, that building, and putting these smelters on the ground level, and then going up from there. The big one, the second one to the right of that, the bigger one that's looking, it's got about 4 levels to it. That is making rotors. I believe that's making rotors. And again, that's just got all the construction on the ground floor. I think that may also have some below as well, so that might have to be rebuilt. To the right of that, the taller one that goes out of frame is reinforced iron plates. All of those start with iron ore as their base material. So the left one is just iron ore that gets made into the rods, iron ingots into rods. The next one, which is rotors, requires iron rods and screws. Both again start from iron ingots, ultimately iron ore. They can combine to make those rotors. Reinforced plates in that second tower require iron plates and screws. Again, both start with iron ore. In front of the reinforced plate one to the far right is modular frames. Again, that has a starting point of iron ore as its main starting point. It does in fact require rods and reinforced plates from the reinforced plate tower behind it. So rods are actually going underneath the floor to that little construction build to make the modular frames. And to the left of that, into the middle of the frame, is smart plating, which requires rotors and reinforced iron plates to make. So you can see in just those 5 towers all require iron ore as their base starting point. and those nodes are literally underneath those back three towers. And that's kind of the idea behind the whole factory. It's just to have, as much as I can, self-contained towers like that. And you can see from this high vantage point what I'm trying to do here. We've got 6x6 blocks, as in pseudo city blocks. In each corner, we've got two concrete walls to mark the boundary of those city blocks, and surrounding each of those is two foundation worth of what will be roads. There are actually vehicles in this game that I might end up using to transport materials around. So those tractors and vehicles can actually use those roads to get around and transport materials around as needed. At the end of this video, I'll go to even higher vantage point and show the entire factory ground floor being done in this layout. So I'm currently sitting on top of the storage floor of the iron rod tower. And in front of us there, you can see the multiple floors of the rotor production tower. This just shows what I'm trying to do with these particular towers. You can see each floor has a self-contained number of constructors or smelters on them, and they are then producing whatever item that floor produces or makes to then move up the tower to the next level to feed the next set of constructors, or potentially go straight past it to the next level, which may have assemblers to then combine two items together to make the final product for that particular tower. It'll then go up that level to a storage location, which will have a series of industrial containers, plus an awesome sink in every top of every building, which primarily to make the entire factory constantly running. So the idea behind that is that you have the final produced item going down a conveyor belt lifted to the logistics floor and then going out from there. And as that starts to back up, being fed into whatever downstream production towers it's needed, it'll then go into containers. And if they start to back up, they'll then go into the awesome sink. So ultimately, the factory should never not be running at 100%. What I have here is a clip using a mod called the Fixit Cam mod, so shout out to those guys who've developed this mod. It's absolutely fantastic. It allows me to basically take a time lapse from a camera position that I can get into by either just climbing up another existing tower and just setting up there, or using the other mods to get up really high, fly, in other words, to get up to a really high vantage point, and show you what making one of these towers look like. This one is the cable tower. This is another time-lapse of the same building being made, the cable tower, from a different angle. You may have noticed at the end of the last little time-lapse clip that I had actually a design around the actual structure in terms of glass and the building and the concrete floors and some access to it. This just shows that from a different angle and sort of shows what I'm trying to do with each of the towers in terms of a cosmetic look. This next 7 or so minutes is going to be around 30 minutes of gameplay compressed into that 7 minutes, so it's really sped up. And it's just of me laying out that city grid, the 6x6 blocks, city blocks surrounded by the foundations, and clearing up the area that I'm going to build the copper sheet tower in, which will be the next couple of time-lapse videos I'll show you. So yeah, that's the next section. It's just me repeating the same 6x6 grid and foundation layout to finalise the grid layout of the main factory floor. This is the first of two time-lapse clips of the copper sheet tower being constructed. To the bottom right is the copper ore node that's feeding this tower and the tower that's going to be used for the copper wire, or for the wire. These time-lapse clips when played back in real time, take about 10 seconds or so. I've slowed this down by about a quarter, which I think really shows the construction of these towers, each floor being made, the constructor's been placed, or the smelter's been placed, and then the next level being up, and the conveyor belt lift is placed between each floor. The time-lapse camera takes a photo or a screenshot every 30 seconds. I then use another tool to combine them into one video. Basically string a whole bunch of screenshots together to make a video. So you actually are seeing me playing the game from this angle. So you'll see the guidelines that I see, and when I'm playing it, you'll see the light from my torch, and you'll see the movement on the machines and all that sort of stuff, as if I'm having some sort of out-of-body experience. This other angle shows the same tower being created. It's basically on the reverse side. I believe this angle shows the storage floor being created better, and also shows the construction of the walkways are used to get into each floor from the outside. Just use the pack utility mod to fly up, straight up, and we'll get a good idea, a good sense of how this 6x6 city block grid looks like across the entire factory floor. Clearly this was done before I built the copper sheet tower, because that's not in this shot. It would be just how it was. So you can see sense of it's almost complete, the grid layout. Where that manta ray is flying, just to the center left of the screen there, that's going to be that's the next area to target for the next set of towers to be constructed. This angle really shows the main set of towers I've already got constructed. Try and point out what I've got here. So the big tower to the left, that's the cable. There are two short towers to our right, its left. The back one of those is, I believe, high-speed connectors. The one in front of that is AL limiters. They could be reversed. I actually can't remember. Sorry. The one in the back sort of corner is quickfire. To its right and sort of front and right from our angle is the iron rod tower. To its immediate sort of right or front right is the smart plating. Back from that is the short of the two other towers. That is the rotor tower. The big tower to its right is the reinforced iron plate tower. In front of that, which you can't quite see behind the efficiency checker tool I'm carrying, is the modular frames, and in front of that one is the ionized filters that I'm building, and that's actually got a drain port on top, bringing in gas filters from another location. So you can see the grid is just laid out. As I said, I think that storage tower in the middle is probably going to go ultimately. Not too sure how I'm going to do it just yet. To be done, the copper sheet tower has been done, wire tower to be done next, and sort of into the back right corner of that will be a iron plate tower. And in this angle, where that storage tower has been currently built, that's going to go and be replaced by multiple towers in that area, as well as a reconstructed train station for nitrogen gas, which will be probably the next video will be all that. So along with that reconstructed train station will be concrete. Also going to make encasing industrial beams, because I can make the steel ingots there and combine that with the concrete to make those beams. Also going to move the construction of the cooling systems, which actually does require the nitrogen gas from its current location, which is essentially almost directly below where I'm hovering now, to over there. Also going to move heat sinks and quartz crystal production to that area as well, because we can use the that big massive conveyor belt bus that's coming in from the left hand side and go straight through with the quartz crystals. But that's for the next video of Solar Factory. Thanks for watching this one, and see you then. Bye.